CRM user adoption. It's actually one of the most common inquiries we receive from our clients as we're going through our deployment projects on CRM or maintaining CRM use on an ongoing basis with our clients, is that the question comes to us: how can we better monitor how the platform is being used and identify where training or coaching may be required to increase user adoption? And you can see here with some of these statistics the reason why these inquiries are so common. As you see, 83% of senior executives surveyed explained that their biggest challenge was getting their staff to use the software. And 49% of CRM projects fail. Of course, those projects weren't engaged with FABSG. That number would be reduced significantly. But that's a significant number of CRM, almost half of CRM projects failing. Why does a CRM project fail? Because users don't adopt the platform. Either they find it too complicated, or it's adding in another platform into the complex matrix of software that they already use in the business. They could be stuck in their ways, just using Outlook as a Rolodex or Excel to track their projects and client engagements. So when a CRM comes along, people feel that this is adding more to my day, something new that I have to learn, and things are just getting too complicated, or people are just too busy to invest the time in actually working out or finding out or discovering how the CRM actually helps them throughout the day. A tool is only as good as its use. Tools are by their nature useful, but if we're not going to pick them up and use them, then they're not going to help us. These type of questions and these type of statistics is exactly why us at FABSG decided we need to provide a solution for our clients that will help them monitor the activity of their CRM platform and identify gaps where training or coaching might be required, so that the users are more encouraged to get the benefit out of the CRM. I don't want to hijack this webinar today by talking about another solution, but it is worth mentioning, as this product that you see on screen at the moment dovetails very nicely into the Utilization Monitor and user adoption training and encouragement. Splash was developed by FABSG and it's an award-winning gamification platform. So once we've identified the gaps or what needs to be improved in our user adoption or platform usage, we can employ Splash Gamification as a fun and challenging way to encourage our staff and agents to get more out of the system, to input more into the system, and therefore get more of a return. I encourage you to check out splash.crm.co to get more information about the gamification platform. And as a follow-up to this webinar, you'll be receiving an email that will have a link to an explainer video for Splash Gamification. So why would we want to track utilization in Sugar? Using SugarCRM directly impacts an employee's productivity. And our clients gain great benefit from tracking utilization data and being able to quantify the activity in the CRM. By using the Utilization Monitor, we can identify gaps. We can see which modules in the platform are being used, which are not being used, and by which role they're being utilized more or less. Also by user, we can get quite granular on an individual's usage of the platform. And not only that, we can see trending data as well. So there might be events happening in our company or events happening globally that are causing an effect on the utilization of our CRM platform. By visualizing trends up and down, we can see the impact on certain events happening around us and how that impacts the usage of our software. By tracking utilization, we can get quite granular on where we might need to provide more training. A common inquiry that we do receive from our clients is, how do we better train our staff? And of course, as a service provider, we do provide that training to our clients. With the Utilization Monitor, we can see exactly where that training should be focused, rather than just guessing and saying, we think we need more training on reporting, or we think we need more training on opportunity management. With the Utilization Monitor, we can see exactly where those efforts need to go. You're about to see a demonstration of the tool itself, and some of the core features that you'll be noting through the demonstration is that this tool calculates a usage score. So rather than just producing a report, which can be tedious and resource heavy, we can see at a glance on a dashboard a score for each individual user, or by role as well. We can customize also the weighting of our activities depending on our specific business case. So we might deem it more a greater achievement to conduct a meeting with a client. But then it might be a lesser achievement to just send an email out to a client. Of course, it's a great achievement if we've logged an opportunity against an account. And if we get a quote out there and that quote's got a verbal approval, all of that type of thing can be customized so that for your specific business case, you're seeing data that's most relevant to you. We can switch between time periods and roles. And again, I mentioned the trending score. So Simon, I'll hand over the presentation to yourself now, and we can continue on with the demonstration.
Great. Just let me share my screen here.
It's all yours.
Okay, so as far as I see, you should see my screen. Just confirming that, Jude.
We do.
Great. Okay. What you can see here is basically we are at the heart of the Utilization Monitor. This is the user adoption module that gives us an overview of all the users we've got on a Sugar instance and their system utilization in a set period of time. First of all, let's look who we have here. We've got 6 users in this instance. This is our demo instance, and it's always a little bit funny demoing this product because obviously in our demo instance there is not a lot of utilization by the actual users, but we've got some in here which I'll explain to you. First of all, we see the overall utilization score. What does this express? The weighting for how the score is calculated can be completely configured by yourself in the admin section of the Utilization Monitor. Now, this should always be seen in comparison between users. So usually you can say we've got Will with 91 being way better than Sarah, being 3 times as good or as much using the system as Jim, and a little bit less using the system than Max. So the score is comparing between users. And now we've got this trending score, which is unusually high here, this because it's a demo instance, which is plus 2,900%. So what does this tell us? So while this score compares between the users, the trending score actually compares within the user itself how his user adoption, how his utilization of the system is changing. This is a pretty simple calculation. In this case, it's always relating to the period we're looking at. So we've got currently a filtering option at 30 days. We can filter by 30, 60, and 90 days into the past. And we see that in the last 30 days, Will achieved a total score of 91. And if we divide 91 by 30, we get into the daily average. What this trending score is doing, it's comparing the daily average to the last full day worked, so usually yesterday. So this trending score tells us that Will yesterday used the system 2,900% more than in the 30 days before on average. So the calculation here is pretty simple, and let's look at how we can configure this view to make it more adaptable to what we need. So as I said, we've got different filtering options. We can, for example, say last 60 days. Now we've got the last 60 days filtering option here. And as I said, this is a demo instance set up very recently. So we see that the score didn't change because all the utilization that happened in the system was pretty recent. However, the trending score did change. And why is that, you might ask? The reason is because now the period by which we are calculating the daily average score is even higher. So the score stayed the same, but we're now dividing it by 60 to achieve the daily average, and now comparing it, meaning that now the trending score is even higher because yesterday's score compared to the 60-day average score is even much of a difference than compared to the 30-day average. What else filtering options do we have? We've got this, you probably know the Sugar native functionality to create your custom filters. And in this case, we can also filter just by the managers for the 60 days. So this is the user adoption view only for managers. So this relates to the role that the user has set in the system. We only got two different user roles here. The one is manager, the other is sales rep, and we're still looking at the same 60-day period. Now, if we want to get more granular and actually see, okay, he's got 91 of a total score, but how is that even composed? How did he do that? We can click on this preview button here, and we are seeing this window on the right that gives us an overview of the recent activity of Will Weston. I said we've got 3 activities that we are tracking in Sugar for every module, including custom modules. These 3 activities are viewing, updating, and creating records. We see, even though Will has a quite high score, he didn't actually do much in the system because he only viewed records. If you would have, for example, created a contact, we would see here activity name create, module name contact. If you would have just updated it, we would see it accordingly. And another thing that we can, so what we know, this score, this utilization score is always this column equals this value. Now we see here that for Will viewed 2 meeting records, and he got it for that. He achieved a utilization score of 0.2. However, he viewed 9 contacts and achieved a utilization score of 90. What does this tell us? We've got a customized weighting applied on this instance. In this case, for user role manager, the module, meetings, and the activity viewing, we've got a weighting of 0.1. So doing this activity 2 times results in a total score of 0.2. On the other hand, managers viewing the contacts has a utilization score of 10 because 9 times results in 90. I think that's pretty obvious. And I'll show you the screen where you can configure this weighting yourself in a second. Now, but we can also drill deeper into this data. So if we click on preview here, we can see which contact did Will view. It's completely up to your specific business case why that might be valuable for you. But for example, just seeing what calls with which clients has Will created is super valuable and can directly be accessed via this window. And if we are not sure, for example, who's Leia Castillo, we can drill down deeper, and we learn that Leia Castillo is Director of Operations at Surprise Sugar. As I said, this is our demo instance. And we can see all the data we've got recorded for this account. So this is pretty much the main view and the main use of the Utilization Monitor. Now, the next thing I want to show you is where you can configure the weighting. Here we are at the well-known Sugar administration section. And you can see, that down here, we've got the so-called global weighting settings. We click on this, we'll end up in this screen that tells us that this screen is dynamically adapting to the roles available in the instance and the modules available in the instance. So what do we see here? These are the modules we have. These are the roles we have. I told you we only got these 2 roles. Now, as I told you before, viewing a contact as, for example, a score of 10. And this can be completely configured to whatever you would consider necessary. For example, for many sales representatives, it makes sense every time a contact is created to weigh that really high, because this means usually that we've got a new client, that maybe a cold call was successful, or the same for opportunities. This, again, completely depends on your business case, but you can configure it however you want, and for whichever role and combination of these 3 activities we've got here. Last but not least, we can also report on the utilization data that we obtain with the Utilization Monitor. By default, the package comes with this dashboard that shows us by our users, that can be completely configured, but that again shows us like who are the best ones, or maybe not the best ones, in which time period they are, and who's struggling, who's got a low score, who's got also a low trending score, and who are the top users who have got the highest scores, who've got the highest trending scores, meaning that they are actually increasing constantly their utilization of SugarCRM. That's pretty much it with the actual insight into the system. Jude, I'll hand back over to you here.